This is part one of a series on a 2003 or 2004 Kawasaki ZX6R 636. This first part is going to be all about dismantling the bike and getting the engine out of the bike. Most of this part is pretty dull, so I'm going to speed it up as we go through. Under the tank, you're going to have the fuel line, and you'll have a connector going to the fuel pump. Disconnect both of those, and if you have any smog lines on them, you can pull those up through the body, through the chassis, or you can remove them from the tank. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to remove the air box. There are a few screws to get to the hose clamps, and you can pull the air box right off. Next step is removing and unplugging anything in and around the throttle bodies. There are two number 3 Allen screws going down onto the clamps between the number 1 and number 2 and number 3 and number 4 cylinders. Make sure to unplug every plug on the wiring harness and get it out of the way. You're going to be removing the entire wiring harness from the front of the bike. You can disconnect the throttle cables and pull the throttle bodies all the way out of the bike. And at this point, obviously, you're going to make sure that the bike is drained of any oil and drained of any coolant. Next thing to come off are going to be the headers. Once you've got the header removed, the next thing that is really nice to have is some kind of lift. Tools are the best thing for the job if you have them. So I recommend having some kind of scissor lift or a jack. At this point, you're going to remove the bottom and the top rear engine mount nuts that are on the bolts. You're also going to want to loosen the castle nuts or the spanner nuts. Now, once you've gotten the front bolts out and the rear bolts out, the engine's pretty much ready to come out. Might take a little bit of moving around. As long as it's supported, it's not going to drop out of there. Once you've got it on your lift and on your stand properly, you can just simply move the engine out of the way.